Councilmember Daughtry.
Present.
Councilmember Dunn is present.
Here.
Mayor Frizzell.
Present.
Thank you. A laborer representative Julian. Mayor Marine.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Merrill.
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Nearing is absent. Councilmember Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Roberts.
Here.
Thank you. And Councilmember Schweddy.
Present.
Thank you, Chair. We do have a quorum of board members. For our board alternates, we have Councilmember Gallagher in the room, and we have Councilmember Payne, Mayor Matsumoto Wright online. And that concludes roll.
Thank you very much. Okay, our first item is a public hearing for draft 2025 to 2030 Transit Development Plan. To date, we've received 75 comments, 71 via the online survey and 4 emails. Comments will be summarized and shared with the board in advance of our August 7th board meeting. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing now at 3:02. Public hearing is now open. We'll take testimony. Each speaker has 3 minutes to provide comments. We'll start with in-room comments. Is there anyone in the room who would like to provide comments on the TDP? Anyone here today that's staff? You don't want to make any comments? So just kidding. Looks like we don't have anyone in the room. I do know that on a remote comments, we do have one person signed up, and maybe there'll be others. Brock Howe would be our first commenter. Is Brock online for us? There he is. Right, he's got his hand up. And so, Brock, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Great. I'm Brock Howell, Executive Director of the Snohomish County Transportation Coalition, or SNOTRAC. SNOTRAC works with the public and decision makers to create and connect affordable, age, and ability-friendly communities for all people. Our board of directors consists of representatives from public, nonprofit, and for-profit transportation and human service providers of the county, including community transit. Last fall, our board approved our organization's strategic plan, which serves as the county's transportation and human services plan. This strategic plan outlines 4 goals for our next 4 years. One is that the collective transportation system is convenient to all people. 2, that all residents know their available transportation services can and that they can easily plan and schedule trips, and that frequently they choose non-driving options. Number 3, that SNOTRAC and residents are strong voices for creating better communities and transportation systems, and for priority populations remain safe during public emergencies. As a convener of transportation providers, we play a major role in identifying mobility gaps for priority populations and working with our partners to address them. And so with that in mind, I provide a few highlights of having gone through the 6-year TDB of where we've heard from community members of where there might be additional things to add or for CT to consider. Not to make any demands here. In general, I think the 6-year TDP is quite excellent and fulfills your long-range plan. One of our strategic priorities is that within the urban areas, we maximize ridership by providing robust, fast, frequent, and networked and well-coordinated transportation fixed route service. And I think the continued prioritization of frequent service within Southwest Snohomish County needs to remain a high priority. Within the more suburbanized areas, it's obviously difficult for fixed route transit, so very supportive of the pilot projects for ZIP to be expanded. And we've heard the city of Monroe would really like to see a pilot project expanded to their area. Within rural areas, would encourage the continued exploration of blended funding models of partnering with nonprofit transportation providers whose service costs are much lower and have the opportunity of providing door-to-door and on-demand service within those areas, following the model of Snoqualmie Valley Transportation, who is funded significantly by King County Metro. So the areas of Darrington, Gold Bar, Index are good areas to explore that type of service in. DART service, we would like to continue to see it to be reliable and work coordinated with partners. We have seen how inter-county medical trips can be a real barrier. And so working with Metro to either make that transition to be seamless is key, or just making it a single trip and then dealing with the payments on the back end would be even better. One couple of final things, I guess, is that the residents along the US 2 corridor have expressed a lot of support for this idea of a trailhead transit service similar to King County Metro's Trailhead Direct service. I think it's worth providing or exploring the providing of that service, considering like even the residents of Index are paying into community transit service area, but they don't have fixed route or paratransit service to them. And so this might be a way of helping to address some of their concerns around congestion and economic development. Finally, we'd like to call out continued support for the regional Find a Ride program that is being developed by HopeLink. Community Transit's engagement on that project by making sure its data stream is available and up to date is really key for making that a success. The dream of it is that a rider would be able to plan their trip across all of the public, nonprofit, and private transportation service providers through one tool. Obviously, Google and Apple Maps are good examples for that today, but those don't include paratransit services or other on-demand services. And so being able to continue to partner with HopeLink, I think is a key thing. So thank you for your time and for what is really a very good 6-year TDP.
Okay, Brock, thank you for your comments. We appreciate them. And let me see, is anyone else signed up online? Rachel, I don't think so. Is anyone online that would like to speak by could show us by raising their hand? Anybody out there wanting to speak? Part of our public hearing? No? All right, then we will close the public hearing at 3:08. Thank you. Public hearing is now closed, and we'll move on then to public comment. Similar format here. Each speaker has 3 minutes to provide comments. Remarks must be relevant to community transit services, programs, projects, or activities. We'll start with in-room comments. Any staff want? No, just kidding. Anyone in the room that would like to make a comment today? Public comment? Seeing none, then we will move on to online comments. Anyone with a raised hand today that wants to make a public comment that's not on the road to someplace? Okay, all right. So then we will then close the public comments. Thank you very much. That leads us right on to our CEO's report. CEO Elgin Fritz has got a little couple-page sheet here. He wants to tell us. Take it away.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon. Board members, it's lovely to see you all here on a beautiful summer day on the eve of a holiday weekend. So couple things to walk through and alert you to, and some things to share. I'll start with some of the fun things we've been up to. This past weekend, we hosted the North Sound Regional Bus Rodeo over at our Hardison campus. We had coach operators from 6 transit agencies come in and compete on pre-trip mechanical skills and time to drive through a very challenging course. We had 2 operators from Community Transit, Abner Nahike and Matt Chomchak, who did well and will compete in the state rodeo that will be hosted by King County in August. And of course, Matt is our reigning international champion, and he will defend his title in Utah next spring in April of 2026. Putting on an event like that is a big lift. We had a lot of staff time and volunteer time committed to making that a successful event, and it was very successful. Also a great boost for morale. I'm not sure how many CT coach operators we ended up having compete at the end, but it was a significant number of employees who got involved and tried their hand at the competition, and it was just really a lot of fun all the way around. Other activities out there cooking. We have been seeing an uptick in activity from WashDOT, participated in 3 different executive interagency working groups on 3 different important projects. Obviously, we've talked here a lot about Revive I-5. We had our final check-in before the first set of lane closures last month. We've also been participating in similar work groups for the bridge replacement down in Mukilteo and also the Bat Lane project in unincorporated Snohomish County on Highway 99. All 3 of those obviously very important transit corridors. And so those have been fruitful discussions to share information and coordinate with WashDOT on their work. Here closer to home, we hosted a workshop for the architectural and engineering consultant industry last Friday here in the boardroom to brief the industry on our capital program and the different projects we have coming out over the next couple of years. As part of our efforts by the planning group and our procurement group to stimulate more interest and more competition on the part of our private sector partners in the work that community transit has to offer, and give them information so that they can make some decisions about their strategies for partnering with us, and to give them some information about how best to work with us and compete in those public project procurement processes. There's a mouthful for you, but it was very well attended, very successful, and really appreciate the work by the procurement team and the planning folks to pull that off successfully. I had 3 colleagues from other transit agencies visit the agency last week to tour our facilities as part of sort of an ongoing ad hoc tour we have of different GMs going around to other properties in the state to see what kind of operations they have going on and learn from each other. So I had the heads of Kitsap, King County, and Pierce Transit up here, and we had some good quality time together to talk about how we're tackling the issues of the day. And then, of course, Deb attended the WISTA quarterly board meeting a couple of weeks ago. The topics there focused mainly on recapping the state legislative session and discussing how the federal issues that we're seeing bubble up and the state issues align with each other to inform our funding environment. So appreciate Deb for heading out to Walla Walla for that. Speaking of the federal government, lot of things going on at the federal level. I think everybody's aware of that. I do want to highlight we have some very good news here over the last couple of weeks. We worked this year as we always do with our congressional delegation, and we've been successful in persuading them to champion some of our projects. So we've received 4 earmarks from 4 different members on the various congressional appropriations bills that are going forward in the House and the Senate. Senator Murray renewed her support for a $3 million earmark for the Gold Line, and that would be for designing that project. Senator Cantwell, a bus replacement earmark of $5 million. Congressman Larson, a bus replacement on the House side for $3 million. So pretty good odds of getting something there for bus replacement. And then Congresswoman Del Bene renewed her request and succeeded in getting the committee to include a $3.8 million earmark for the Green Line expansion project. So it's always affirming to have such strong support from our congressional delegation, and they see themselves as stakeholders in our success as well. So those will wend their way through the congressional process, and hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have some positive news about the final disposition. Along those same lines, we are submitting applications to FTA this month for our bus and bus facilities program and the Low-No program. So we're going to pursue 2 grants there, one for our facilities master plan phase 4 project, which will be to modernize and expand the Cash Park operating base across the street. That is part of our eventual vision to integrate that operating base into direct community transit control as we phase out the TransDev contract. A big piece of that is the Security and Operations Center. I think everybody here has toured that facility before. We'll be expanding that facility and integrating its function with transportation dispatch and customer communications to align all of our operating disciplines in one place. And that's part of our effort to provide a safe and secure experience for all of our customers and employees out there in the field. The congressional budget reconciliation bill passed just today, just a couple hours ago, in fact. We've been tracking that bill for quite a while and talking about it here and in the committees. While it has a relatively minimal impact on transportation funding, they carried forward a lot of what previous Congresses did under the previous administration. There's obviously some big changes on social services, so we'll be evaluating and following very closely the impacts to our partner jurisdictions, particularly in the areas of health and human services, housing, education, and what have you. We often see when there's pressure in those sectors, it starts to show up in the transit system. So we'll be watching that closely. Likewise, at the state level, there's a new revenue forecast, and it looks like the affordability gap at the state level opened up again. So we'll be looking to see whether there's going to be any additional activity down there in response to that and or in response to the changes in policy that the feds have just implemented. Lastly, on the federal front, we have provided guidance to staff relative to immigration and customs enforcement activity. We're getting a lot of questions from employees and customers about this, as you might imagine. So we issued guidance to our employees aligned with the Snohomish County Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Johnson's done a lengthy statement and FAQ on her website about how transit police and sheriff's deputies show up in that space and what their roles and responsibilities are. And so we've aligned with that. Our goal is to keep our employees focused on maintaining safe and efficient transit operations. They neither cooperate nor interfere with immigration enforcement activity, because our responsibility is transportation and we want our employees focused on that. So they're basically asked to report any activity and call it into dispatch and the SOC for guidance. The other piece of this is customer information to make sure that all of our customers and potential customers out there know that if a transit security officer or transit police deputy are asking for identification, they're doing so in connection to our activities around rules of conduct enforcement and nothing else. So we issued that guidance and provided some clarity in that space for employees and customers. A couple other things on the operating side. We've got a fall service change coming up, which isn't really fall, it's summer. The service change takes effect August 30th. So planning staff and transportation staff will be coming through the committees this month to brief on all the details there so that you have a good picture of what we'll be doing in the second half of the year. A couple of highlights there just to steal a little bit of thunder is we're improving frequency on a number of routes. We're looking in particular at increasing frequency on weekends because we've seen a lot of ridership growth on weekends. We'll be serving the new park and ride out of Cathcart, which is exciting, provided that the county has completed that project in time. It looks like they're on a path to do that. So more details to follow this month at the committees on the fall service change. Related to that, over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a higher than normal number of missed trips within the system due to fleet availability. So there's a number of factors that are contributing to that. In particular, maintenance staffing has leveled off a little bit in the recruiting space. We've seen some parts and supply chain challenges, particularly associated with moving the double deckers over to Hardison. And so we are working to look at our internal shop processes. We're looking at how we deploy our fleet. We're re-looking at our recruitment strategies to try to get more creative and aggressive there so that we can get things back to where they need to be. Just to put it in context, we typically operate about 13,000 trips every week, and we usually deliver about 99.8% of those. And last week, for example, we delivered 98.5% of our trips. So we lost about 1% on our reliability. What that means, I was talking about it with the chair yesterday, and it means if we've got a bus route that has a 30-minute headway and we miss a trip, it means there's an hour gap between buses. And that's something we really want to try to avoid going forward, so we're not leaving people there waiting. So we will keep you posted on this, but Roland and and Unju and Melissa are on top of it and pursuing strategies to correct that. On the audit front, some good news there. We have received a clean audit on the financials for the agency, our 30th consecutive. The auditors are now going to go out and do some work with other agencies before coming back to complete that, but we will have an exit conference later in the year. And similarly, we completed, as I've reported previously, our FTA triennial. There was an exit conference on that a couple weeks ago, and that came back very positive. And we'll be getting a letter from FTA that reflects that sometime fairly soon. I want to recognize, as always, our financial team, all of the staff in the departments who contribute to responding to those audits. That's tough work and important work, and the FTA in particular, that's kind of our foundational review to maintain our eligibility and our qualifications to receive federal funding. So very important first step. Last couple of things, Vanpool. So few services suffered more impact during the pandemic than Vanpool. You know, with COVID happening, people weren't getting in vans together and they weren't working at offices. And so one of the things we did to keep that service viable was to reduce the number of riders required for each van from 5 to 3. We have seen demand for Vanpool swing back the other way. It's quite robust. We've got a waiting list, and people are eager to get back into it. So we're going to change that policy back to requiring 5 riders to form a pool, and that'll make our fleet go further. So we think that'll be helpful and will enable us to meet demand more effectively. That change goes into effect August 1st. So that's a good news problem to have. And last but not least, you'll recall at the June board meeting, we had public comment from Joseph Beck, giving some feedback on some of the cultural and operational differences between directly operated service and paratransit contract delivered service. I want to thank Jim. He's been in direct contract with Mr. Beck and maintained some dialogue with that. That's provided some beneficial insights both ways. So we appreciate his input, and it's very timely because we are in the process of evaluating our contract with DART and preparing to make a decision about whether to continue forward with the option on that contract. So just wanted to circle back and let you know that we had followed up there. So with that, Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Okay, Rick, thank you so much for that report. All right, on to committee reports. The Executive Committee met on June 18th. Mayor Frizzell, Councilmember Daughtry, Councilmember Merrill, and I attended. The CEO report, as was just shared, was provided. And the next Executive Committee meeting is scheduled for July 16th at 9 a.m. And all right, how about the Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee? Councilmember Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, you're welcome.
The Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee met on Thursday, June 12th, 2025 in a Zoom format. Board member Mayor John Neary and I attended. The committee reviewed and recommended one item to the consent agenda. Approval of the May 2025 monthly expenditures and payroll vouchers will be items 7 Bravo through Golf. The reports, we received the sales tax report for May 2025, unaudited. May 2025, community transit collected 16.8 million in sales tax revenue, approximately 726,000 less than budgeted. A copy of this report is included in your packet. And the diesel fuel update and report for May 2025, average cost to date through May 2025 is $3 per gallon, while the average cost per gallon budgeted is $4. The result is favorable variance of, let's see, I think it's $1 per gallon year to date through May. The next Finance, Performance, and Oversight Committee meeting is scheduled for 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Thursday, July 17th, 2025 via Zoom.
All right, Councilmember Daughtry, thank you for that report. The Strategic Alignment and Capital Development Committee, Councilmember Merrill.
Thank you, Chair. The Strategic Alignment and Capital Development Committee meeting was held remotely over Zoom on June 18th at 2 p.m. Councilmember Dunn, Councilmember Schweddy, and Councilmember Merrill attended. The committee reviewed and forwarded one action item to today's agenda. the RFP 2025-60 for Facilities Master Plan Phase 7, Progressive Design Build Owner Advisory Services Phase 1. The next meeting of the Strategic Alignment and Capital Development Committee is scheduled for Wednesday, July 16th at 2 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Merrill. Appreciate that. On to the consent agenda, consent items. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as published here.
I move to approve the committee or the consent
All right.
and the
so,
committee.
motion by Mayor Marine and a second by Councilmember Merrill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Consent agenda items are approved as published. All right, action items. So we're on to RFP 2025-060 for Facilities Master Plan Phase 7, Progressive Design Build Owner Advisory Services Phase 1. Melissa is here. Melissa Colley's here to introduce our in-house speaker.
Yes, thank
Thank you.
you, Mayor Roberts. Nice to see the board today. Melissa Colley, Chief Planning and Development Officer, and I have with me, if you haven't met him before, Stephen Kimbrough. He manages our capital program. We are excited to share with the board this first step in building the infrastructure for our zero emissions program. So as we've been learning more and more about what it would take to start to convert our bases to a zero emissions fleet, we've been thinking differently about how we might procure, design, and build that infrastructure. It's been a really interesting learning opportunity. I know all of you are probably familiar with design, bid, build projects. That's how most of us do them, and that's how we've done them for a very long time. But there is an alternate procurement delivery method called a design build project. And Stefan's going to get into more of the details about that, but we think this will set us up better to mitigate risk in a new technology, new infrastructure for us as an agency and across the nation, and really set this project up for success. So he's going to talk a little bit more about that. This first phase of work that we're asking for approval today is just to learn how to do a design build project. So there are, as a consultant team that can lead us through that and ultimately get us certified to do these projects. It's a requirement through the state of Washington, as it's an alternate way to procure projects. So Stefan's going to share that with you, and we'll be coming back to the board to share more particulars about how much this project's going to cost. I know you're always very interested in that and what the timeline will be. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Stefan.
Thank you, Melissa. Board Chair Roberts and board members and Rick, it's good to be here. My first time. I've been waiting a long time for this to present a project here at the committee. So I'm pretty excited to do this. And as Melissa said, I lead the capital development program, and that program is responsible for delivering, among other projects, the Facilities Master Plan projects. And so I'm here today to talk about the Progressive Design Build Owner Advisory Services RFP for FMP Phase 7. And just a quick recap of FMP 7. That's our project to build zero emissions infrastructure at our Hardison campus, specifically battery electric bus charging infrastructure. And it's going to be a phased project. So we will phase the construction to meet bus procurement timelines. And it'll be broken up into several probably phases of construction that'll then be broken up into other phases to meet those bus timelines. So why we are deciding to choose to do progressive design build, I think one of the most important reasons, it's a qualifications-based solicitation. As you know, normal way of delivering construction projects, the construction solicitation is always low bid. And so with this method, we're able to go with a qualifications-based selection, and that means we get to go and find a contractor, or actually a designer contractor team that has experience building zero emissions infrastructure. And they'll hopefully have experience with transit infrastructure and being knowledge of working on an active operating base. And so that's one of the big reasons where we chose this method. Another reason is it's a more collaborative approach than design bid build. You know, with the designer and the contractor under one contract, there's no finger pointing when issues come up. And so there's, it's a lot more collaborative. It's a lot more inducive to, seeking out ways of, saving on cost, accelerating schedule if needed. And so that's going to be really important for this project as we need to match construction with those bus procurement timelines. Another big, a big positive for this type of delivery method is that when the construction contractor is on board during design, they're able to give input that we normally wouldn't get that would also help us with cost control and risk reduction. So a little bit about an owner advisor's role in progressive design build and about the task order we're talking about today. So for one, they bring specialized experience in progressive design build. We don't have that yet here at CT. And so that's one big reason why we're bringing on this owner advisor. They help facilitate collaboration between us, the owner, and the design build team. And they'll help inform us on key decisions with their vast knowledge of progressive design build. The owner advisor services is broken into 2 phases. We're here to talk about the first phase today, but I'm going to go over the second phase as well. The first phase, the owner advisor is here to educate us both in capital and procurement on the design build process. They will help support the approval process with the state project review committee, which is part of CPARB. And they'll help us develop the progressive design build RFQ and help us select and evaluate the progressive design build teams. So that's when phase 1 ends, and then phase 2, which will be a separate solicitation. Phase 2, they'll help us advise us during design and help us make good decisions during design. They'll help provide cost validation and risk analysis, and they'll help us negotiate the final construction price. They also act somewhat like the construction management firms that we usually hire during construction, and they'll help us manage the construction. So just a quick recap, the scope of work for this RFP, phase 1, the owner advisor will provide training on progressive design build best practices, support the PRC application and presentation, which we hope will happen in December. And they'll help develop the RFQ and support the progressive design build solicitation. They'll also help estimate construction schedule and cost estimates. And so for RFP 2025-060, our most qualified vendor was OAC Services, Inc., and a contract value of $311,710. One more slide, just a quick overview of the schedule. So we hope to kick off the owner advisory services phase 1 this month, and then that'll run through the first quarter of 2026. And that's when owner advisor services phase 2 starts, and we'll go out for the progressive design build solicitation and start the design build process. It's the last slide. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, Stefan, thank you. Board members online and here at the dais, or do you have questions today?
Yeah, I've got one. So I'm going to suppose that OAC's original proposal was 274,000. It must have increased the scope in order to go to the 300,000.
It did, yes. We, after looking at their proposal, we decided we want more training for our staff, and we also wanted a more robust effort in helping us develop the RFQ than was originally in their proposal.
Okay, other Councilmember Merrill?
I picked up, this is my second time through there. But what I picked up on what you said today, I think I missed the first time. So this is only for the battery electric and does not include infrastructure build out for hydrogen.
That's correct. That's the assumption we're going with now.
Is there a plan then at some point to do the hydrogen facility also?
No plans to do it at the Hardison campus, and this is just for the Hardison campus
Okay,
project.
thank you.
Okay.
But to answer your question, Councilmember Merrill, if we were to move forward and do the same process for hydrogen, we would follow probably a design build process as well, which would be helpful. But TBD, we got our hands full right now.
And I'll build on that if I may.
Yes, sir.
So in the language of our facilities master plan, Our individual projects are referred to by a phase and a number. So we're talking today about Facilities Master Plan Phase 7. So the phase of work in the project for the hydrogen system is we refer to internally as Phase 8. And so it's in our planning as FMP Phase 8, and whether we proceed to that or not is going to be one of the things we're trying to learn through our side-by-side pilot project with our current hydrogen fueling infrastructure and fuel cell bus. So more to come on that.
Looks like Mayor Frizzell has her hand up.
Yes, I do. In your experience, what are the negatives to going with design build process?
Go ahead.
So there's a couple challenges. I have my notes. You can sometimes see higher costs, and it can sometimes take a longer time to do a design build project. It's also not beneficial for projects that have very prescriptive design requirements, which this doesn't, right? Because we're really wanting to see like, what does that require, right? You know, we will have a lot more flexibility, and will allow the designer, consultant team and the construction team to work together on that. But on a very prescriptive project, you wouldn't need this level of rigor, and it will sometimes, and we don't know this, but it may add cost and time to a project schedule.
So have we used this process before, or is this our first time dipping our toe in the water, so to speak?
This is our first progressive design build project, yes.
All right. Sound Transit has a project going on with this process as well. So it's interesting to me. I do think that there are a lot of positives to it. So it'll give us an opportunity to watch it closely in action. Thank you.
Yeah, there are several. So Snohomish County, City of Bothell.
City of Everett's building a new stadium. We use
Yep.
this. Yep.
So we plan to, especially with Snohomish County that has gone through the design build process and is in the project phase right now. We plan to like sit down with them and ask them like, what has worked, what hasn't, and kind of gather that information to help inform us as we move through this process.
That'll be great if you bring that back to us in chunks, so we can learn too.
Sure.
Of course, continue to ask lots of questions about it. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Frizzell. I don't see any other hands online. See, no, I was coming back to you, Mayor. Okay, Mayor Marine.
Does this affect any grants? Because don't some grants require you to be like 90% design, those sorts of things? Or I assume it's not affecting any of our grants for this project.
It doesn't. Right now, we have a mix of state funds and local funds for this project. We'll still go through a federal procurement project process, which means we put all the terms and conditions in the solicitation in the procurement process. But it doesn't, the only threshold that you have for design is that you cannot progress past 30% until you've completed your environmental determination, whether that's SEPA or NEPA.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any other questions in the dais? And none online, and we have a motion on the screen for Mayor Marine.
I will move that the board authorizes CEO to negotiate an award contract 2025-060 to OAC Services, Inc. for a not to exceed amount of $311,710 for FMP 7 Progressive Design Build Owner Advisory Services.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Marine, seconded by Councilmember Daughtry. Mayor Marine, maker of the motion. Do you have anything else you want to say about it? Any other comments about it? All right. All those in favor of this measure, RFP 2025-60, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes yes. It passes unanimously. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
For coming in. And okay, well, that was our one action item. Chair's report. The quarterly board workshop is scheduled for July 24th at 3 p.m. And the next regular meeting, board meeting, is scheduled for August 7th at 3 p.m. Executive session, we have no executive session today. And that'll lead us right on to board communications, and we'll start alphabetically with Councilmember Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have three items.
Okay.
One, I want to talk about ZIP in Lake Stevens. I'll turn on my mic also. I got some anecdotal evidence about how ZIP is working. I got two staff members at the city that kind of overlook North Cove Park. And they've been watching ZIP every day come in there many, many times a day to drop off teenagers. And they said it looks like a clown car, all the teenagers exiting the car. Now, I went down to observe this yesterday, and I observed that no, there's only like 4 teenagers exiting the cars because there's not that many seats. So there's not packing them full, but it is being used a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing the data of youth use of the ZIP now that school is out, because I know it was pretty good size during school. It seems like it must be a lot bigger now. So I'm looking forward to that. Second thing, I would be remiss because I am the Aquafest back of show guy to not mention that not this Friday through Sunday, but next Friday through Sunday, we have Aquafest downtown Lake Stevens. And then I also want to thank everybody in the room for your participation in celebrating my 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow.
Checks and cards will be right up here at the big dais right there. Thank you. Very good. Congratulations on that. That's a monumental accomplishment.
I didn't do anything, it was all my wife.
Yeah, well, you said that. I didn't say that. That's pretty much a given. Okay. Councilmember Dunn online still, I think.
Yep, nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Frizzell, anything from you?
Happy anniversary, Kim, and to your lovely wife. That's great. As a reminder, tomorrow, as we all know, it's wonderful 4th of July, where I do a geeky thing of I read the Constitution and reflect on it. So I invite you all to join me in that endeavor. But more fun wise, I hope you enjoy your family barbecues, safe and sane fireworks. Look forward to seeing you next month.
All right, Mayor Frizzell, thank you so much. And Mayor Marine.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Tomorrow, yeah, Independence Day. It doesn't mean you should hang by yourself. Should probably be out in a crowd. You know, being Independence Day.
Yeah.
But I had a question earlier during your report. I know because the report was so quick, but I do remember that, and especially yours with $3 for diesel, which is awesome. We're clearly not paying any of the tax, right? We're exempt from the tax. Yeah, okay. I assume that because there's no way you're going to get $3 with
diesel, right?
I think the tax is almost $1 now. So anyway, other than that, keep in mind, second weekend in September, Lighthouse Festival. It's not Aquafest, but it's pretty cool.
And that's in Muckleteel, right? Yeah.
No, it's in Linwood. Yeah, no.
I thought it was maybe.
Please do come to Linwood the first weekend of September. The first Saturday is our fair on 44th. Thank you for reminding me to announce that.
All right. Councilmember Merrill, what's going on in Snohomish?
Well, we have Kahia Days coming up in a week, but I wanted to thank Community Transit for the turnout for the Pride Parade with the bus and the staff that came to march in that. I wanted to report that was a very successful time. We had almost 15,000 visitors that attended that parade, and many of the businesses were reporting record sales for that this year. It helps to have good weather.
Yeah, good deal.
Thank you.
Councilmember Merrill, thank you. Councilmember Strom Peterson, is he on still? Yeah, I think he is.
I am, but I have nothing to report. Happy 4th, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Strom. Appreciate it. Councilmember Sweaty?
Well, I'm sure everyone saw the front page of the Everett Herald and the fact that the largest EV station in the state was installed last week in Arlington. And I went to that on Tuesday after our skip meeting. It's off of I-5 at Island Crossing. So it's just so easy accessible. It will charge in 20 minutes for a vehicle. That's probably not semis, but a vehicle, and they can charge 140 a day. So if you need a vehicle charge, you know where to go. Thank you.
Very good. All right, let me see, board alternates, Mike Gallagher, he's here, there he is. Thank you. All right, that's it, huh? Thank you. All right, Councilmember Susan Payne, I think she's online.
I am. Thank you. I just want to encourage everyone to have a safe 4th, and we have a pretty exciting parade tomorrow during the day, and it should be a lovely day, and maybe we won't all overheat, but I hope everybody has a nice long weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Payne. Mayor Matsumoto Wright.
Yes, I just wanted to say that in Mountain Lake Terrace, we have fireworks tonight on July 3rd
Oh,
at Lake Ballinger. And last year we had about 9,000 people in attendance. So you're welcome to come and watch fireworks if you like it 2 nights in a row, tonight and then tomorrow night someplace else.
wow. Okay, thank you, Mayor, appreciate it. All right, that does it for board members' communications. Is there any further business for the good of the agency or the order? If not, we will adjourn the meeting at 3:45. Have a great 4th of July.